Hey guys, this is Mitch with Finepoint CGI, and today we're going to talk about how to use Rust with Godot. So first we're going to talk about installing Rust. Then we are going to go ahead and set up our demo project, and we are going to go ahead and compile our Rust module and then finally execute it inside of Godot. So that's what I have in store for you guys today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is we need to go ahead and download Rust. So we're going to come over here and pull down the 64-bit edition of Rust. So let's go ahead and click that and save it. And we are also going to need the LLVM snapshot here, which is a compiler. So this is a LLVM compiler here. And we'll go ahead and pull that down as well. So we'll grab the 64-bit edition and save that as well. Now you may or may not need that if you have Visual Studio installed. It just kind of depends on what you installed with your Visual Studio. But I'm going to go ahead and pull it down anyway. So I'm going to open up my downloads here. I'm going to go ahead and double click Rust Up Init right here. And then we will hit 1 and hit enter. And this will go ahead and install Rust. Now, while this is installing, let's go ahead and click on our LLVM installer. Let's double click on that. Click yes. And then it will go ahead and unpack our data. And the reason why I'm doing both at the same time is because it takes a few minutes for both of them. So now that Rust is done, we'll go ahead and hit enter. And let's wait for our LLVM to finish up. So we're going to go ahead and click next. And then we are going to hit agree. And we will go ahead and add it to system path. Make sure that you add it to system path or this entire installation is borderline useless. So we'll go ahead and click next and click next and then install. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit finish. And now from here, we need to go ahead and set up our project. So we're going to go to my documents folder. We're going to right click, hit new, go to folder. And we're going to call this Rust Demo Project. We'll go ahead and enter into there. And then we are going to click here and type CMD. And that will open up a command prompt here for us. So what we need to do now is use what's called Cargo. And Cargo is Rust's build system. So it actually builds your project for you and does all of that process. So what we're going to do is we will type cargo space new --lib because we're going to make a library, and we can, at this point, we can name it whatever we want. So I'm just going to call it Rust Demo Project. All right, you will see that we got a folder here that now has a bunch of stuff in it. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. So we'll say code dot. And that's going to go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code for us. So you will see that we now have Visual Studio Code here with our demo project here. Now, one of the things that we should do is install the Rust bindings. That way we have all of those cool little Rust bindings that we have. So if we go to extensions and then we type in Rust, you will see that there is a Rust programming language for Visual Studio Code, which will provide hints and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and install that. One other plugin I would make sure I pull down is the Rust Analyzer. I don't pull this down immediately, but I do pull it down later after the tutorial is already finished. But make sure you pull this down. It really helps with syntax highlighting. So make sure you grab this one. And then what we're going to do is we'll go back to our Explorer and go ahead and open up our Cargo TOML file. So we open that up and you will see that it has our package, it has our name, our version, our edition of Rust that we're using, and we have some additional, see more keys, their definition, and that's just basically saying go out here if you need more information. But down here we have this thing called dependencies, and dependencies is where you include stuff into your project. So we need to go ahead and include GD native. So we'll go GD native. And we're going to use version, in my case, 2.9.0. And that's just going to allow us to have those bindings for GD native for Godot. So that way we can actually use Godot's stuff with Rust. Also, one of the other things that we're going to need to do is up here, let's go ahead and add a lib section. And let's go ahead and add a new crate type. And what crate type is it is a, what is this going to be, right? So you're saying like this is going to be a library or something like that, right? So if you hit bracket, and then quote, and I want it to be a CDY lib, so I'm going to make this into a library file. And that's what I'm telling the compiler to do, is to make this into a library file. So we're going to go ahead and hit Control S and save. And then from here, we'll open up our src file and click on our lib, and you will see that we have some code here. Now, the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure we have our using statements. So if we come up here, we can have use GD native : prelude : asterisk semicolon. And what we're saying is we're going to grab all of the GD native code libraries and just kind of pull it into this specific class. Then we're going to go ahead and hit Control S, make sure we save. And then I'm going to come down here and pull all this out because we don't need it. And we're going to say hashtag derive, and we are going to say native class. And then we're going to say hashtag bracket inherit, and we're going to inherit from our node class. And then we need to make ourselves a structure. So we're going to say struct, and we'll say hello world. All right. And then we're going to say hashtag bracket GD native : which inherits from methods. So what these hashtags mean is they are called attributes, and it's something to tell the compiler different information about your code. So we're saying, hey, we're deriving this from the native class, so we're basically telling Rust to generate ourselves a native class. And it's saying, hey, compiler, we are inheriting from our node class inside of GD native. And then here we are telling the compiler that this is the next section that we're about to write. So our classes are a part of the GD native methods. So we'll come down here and say impl, which is for implementation, and hello world. And then we'll open and close our brackets here. And then we'll say fn for function new _owner : and node. And then we're going to create a memory pointer to self. So we're going to say this is pointing to ourselves, hello world. And then we're going to make another compiler flag here, and we're going to say let's export, which will go ahead and expose this function out to an external entity. So in this case, it's going to be Godot. So we'll say fn _ready, and then we will say and self, comma, _owner, : and node. There we are. And we will say Godot _print, ! hello world. All right, and now that we have this, we can go ahead and do a function outside of our little implementation class called init. And what we're going to use that for is we're going to use that for when this file is ran, this init here is going to be ran. So we'll say handle : init handle. And then we'll say handle.add _class : hello world. And then we'll go ahead and call our Godot init. So Godot _init ! init. Awesome. So what did we do here? So we derived this entire thing from native class. We inherited our node. We put this class here as a part of our GD native methods. We created a function of when this is created. It's kind of like a constructor. So it's saying, hey, when this is created, do hello world. And then we are exporting this out to Godot, and then we are saying Godot print. And then we're saying, hey, when this file exists, go ahead and make sure you add your handle class. So add it to Godot, add the hello world class to Godot, and then go ahead and initialize Godot. So now from here, if we go back to our command prompt here and we type cargo build, oh, I'm in the wrong directory, cd rust demo project and then cargo build. So what this is going to do is it's going to go out and fetch all of our dependencies that we have. So you're going to see this fetch happen where it's going to actually go and pull all of our Godot dependencies. It's going to go out and fetch any other compiler dependencies that it needs. And once this is completed, I will be right back. All right, and as you can see, it has compiled correctly. So that's awesome. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and open up our Explorer. So you can see here's our Explorer, and we're going to need to go ahead and add a Godot project here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and open up Godot, and we will go ahead and add in a new project. Now, in my case, I'm just going to grab my Rust demo project location. I'm going to come over here, paste it, and I am going to create a folder called Godot Rust project. It's very creative. We're going to go ahead and create our folder and create an edit. Okay, so now that we have Godot open, we need to go ahead and copy our library file over here into Godot. So we need to first right click, create a new folder and call it bin. And then what we need to do is we need to click on our folder here, go into our Rust demo project, go into target, and go into debug, and then grab our Rust demo project.dll. And then we're going to back out to our Rust project. We're going to go into our Godot Rust project. We're going to go into our bin folder, and we're going to paste this into that folder. Now that we have our DLL into our folder, what we need to do is we need to create a link for Godot to know that this exists. So we're going to come out here into Godot. We're going to click the little create new resource button here. And then we are going to go ahead and make a GD native library here. And you can see that this is basically just a giant repository to point us to where our library is located. So we're going to scroll down here to Windows 64. We're going to click on the folder icon. We're going to go into bin and we're going to click on our Rust demo project.dll. So we're going to double click on that. And then we are going to click on the save icon so we can save this. So we'll click save, save as, and then we want to make sure that this is a GDN lib file. So we click that, hit save, and there we go. So now we have ourselves a GDN lib file. We can actually rename this instead of calling it new GDN lib. I probably should have named it Hello World. You don't have to name it Hello World, but I'd rather it be named Hello World. So we'll call it that. And then we need to go ahead and use our library. So let's go ahead and make a 2D node. And let's right click, add in a regular node. If you remember, we used node here and here and here to say that this is a type node. If this was a sprite, you would need to attach it to a sprite. If it was a 2D node or a node 2D, then you would have to attach it to a node 2D. So if I come up here, right click, attach a script, and let's go ahead and attach a native script, and let's call it hello world.gdn. All right. And now from here, we need to come over here to our library section and add our GDN lib file. So we're going to click on that, click load, and we are going to point it to our hello world GDN lib. Hit open, and now we've added that to our project. From here, let's go ahead and save our scene, and let's just call it Rust test scene. Now let's go ahead and hit play, and we need to go ahead and select a main scene. So let's select our Rust test scene. Oh, but it does not look like it worked. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so I figured out what the issue was. So what you need to do is you need to open up Visual Studio Code and open up your GDNS file. You'll see that there's a section here called resource. And what it's missing is you need to say resource underscore name is equal to hello world. And then you also need to have class underscore name is equal to hello world. And what that'll do is that will actually allow you to reference that code inside of Godot. So Godot doesn't know that it exists because it looks at it and goes, yeah, you have a external library, but I don't know what class it is. So after you do this, you go ahead and you open up Godot and then you hit play, and you will see hello world will appear. Awesome. What do I think about Rust and Godot? I think that it is way simpler than C++, and I'd be really interested in doing a performance benchmark on this to see how well it stacks up to C++, because I think that it'll probably be pretty close since it basically compiles down to native script. It should be almost the same. And it's a lot simpler to set up than C++, though, again, that will be changing with the native script changes that we have. So I think it's an awesome way to code inside of Godot. But that's all I have for you guys today. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Hey, if you dislike this video, go ahead and hit that dislike button because I am here to make content for you guys. This video was a viewer suggestion, as with most of my videos. So if you guys have any suggestions, throw them in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to make videos on whatever suggestions you guys have. And hey, if you have any questions about this, or if you just want to have someone to chat with, either throw a comment down below or jump on our Discord. Link is in the description. We'd be more than happy to chat with you. We got some really cool guys out there. But that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Thanks.